Mario and I just came back from Finland, where we visited Europe's largest gold mill, that's Laiva Gold. It's set for restarting next summer of 27. I call it the giant ATM machine in central Finland. It really will print significant cash when it starts next summer. So
everything was like first class and very well organized.
Look at Laiva Gold. I think the valuation we're doing this round is 170 million Canadian. When it's at full production of 50,000 ounces, it will make more than 170 million a year, and it'll run for the next 30-40 years.
Seasonally and historically, like July is usually a bottom on average for the year, and it looks like it's happened again.
There's so much upside in this business, and the beauty is it's already built, so you don't have to go and spend 50 million here or 100 million there.
Usually human nature and the crowd, they want to buy things when it's going up, like gold in stocks, but you really, like Jeremy does, you have to buy it at the bottom.
Absolutely. Just click on the more button below on this video. Ed, Eric, Max, Jamila, Jen, myself, happily give you a call.
Today we're having a chat with Jeremy Gray, co-founder of Laiva Gold, as well as Mario Innecco from the wildly successful Maneco64 YouTube channel. Gentlemen, it's great to have you both back on the channel. Very excited for our discussion. And Jeremy, why don't we start our chat talking about what is Laiva Gold really all about?
Oh, thanks, Stein, and it's amazing to have Maneco64 on the channel today. Mario and I just came back from Finland, where we visited Europe's largest gold mill, that's Laiva Gold. It's set for restarting next summer of 27, June of 27, and it's just a very substantial business that's been sitting there waiting to turn on for the last 4 years. And I think that's what struck Mario, was such a beautiful complex with a record gold price, and it should be turning on right now, shouldn't it, Mario?
Definitely. It seems like a big, big waste. It's been sitting there. It's got a really well-run operation. There's the saying about the Finns, maybe I don't know if I should say it, they think like the Germans, but they drink like the Russians, you know, and the mill, everything was like first class and very well organized, and and there was even a big pile of low-grade ore there that's worth about $200 million. So it's a bit frustrating seeing it sit there, and I think it's going to be a great mine once it starts producing again.
Mario, of course, like you and Jeremy outlined, you just came back from a site visit. I would be very curious to dive a bit deeper into your first impressions. What did you think when you drove onto the mine site? What do you think of the quality of the infrastructure? What is the state of the mine like today?
Well, the infrastructure, the area, you've got really well paved roads. Finland is a first tier jurisdiction. There is a little bit of a stretch when you go into the property where it's not paved, but it's really, it's got all the power infrastructure going through the area. You've got also a lot of huge windmills that can be connected to the power cables, I guess. And the condition of the mine and all the like the office building that they work from, it's been kept very well as well. And it's been sitting there for like 4 years, right, Jeremy, without producing. So it hasn't been cheap to, it's called the care and maintenance, is something that people forget about, something I've learned over these last few months that I didn't know about. I was more focused on my channel on talking about buying gold coins and stuff like that, and never really looked at where it comes from, really.
And that's a thread that I'm very excited to dive a bit deeper into. But Jeremy, before that, perhaps we can talk about the history of this mine, because like Mario outlined, it's a past producer, incredible infrastructure. How did this mine came to be? How did it came to be in your hands? And really, what is the potential to unlock here?
Yeah, no, it's a story that should have been a great success, but they built the mine. They spent 300 million euros back in 2010 to 12 to build it. And sure enough, the gold price then collapsed. We all remember that collapse from 2012 to the end of 24, don't we? That 12-year bear market in gold. And they had too much debt, so they had to wind up operations in 2014. They did remarkably well. They were producing about 40,000 ounces a year, but only running at 60, 70% of their potential. Then two other groups came along, I think just came in with no capital, just tried their luck really in 2017 and also 2021. They had just didn't have the working capital to start, and the market was still very depressed. Remember, the price back then was still around, well, in 2017, Mario was about 1,700, wasn't it? And in 2022, it was about 1,900. So it just wasn't enough interest to get it going. We bought it, actually, Stein. We bought it in October of 22. And I distinctly remember October 22 because it was the day we signed the purchase was that triple bottom in gold at 1620. You remember, Mario, that bottom in October of 22?
Yeah, I do. And actually in 2017, Jeremy, I was looking at, I did a video yesterday and about the, what was it about? I forgot now. But anyway, I looked at gold back in 2017 and it was trading around 1250 actually. Yeah, like in July. So it was even lower.
Yeah, can you imagine trying to start up a big mine like that in those terrible prices? So now at $4,300 an ounce, this thing is a giant. I call it the giant ATM machine in central Finland. It really will print significant cash when it starts next summer. So yeah, we then had it for 4 years, and honestly, even then we struggled to find money because it's only really the last, when was it, up until December of last year, the market got very excited about the space. And I say to also, Mario, what's very interesting and something that I know he's talking a lot more about now is that even when Laiva hits full production, initially at 50,000 ounces, grown to 80,000 ounces, 50,000 ounces is still only half a day of Chinese demand, isn't it, Mario? It's quite crazy when you think such a huge mine can only supply 12 hours of Chinese consumption.
Yes, it's amazing. Because China consumes about 1,000 tons a year, so that's 2.77 tons a day. And Laiva, like I said, has the potential to produce 50,000, which is about just under 1.6 tons a year. So it just gives you an idea. And I spoke about this recently, and also the fact that there hasn't been a huge gold discovery in at least 10 to 15 years. The last few years there has been a dearth of discoveries of like finds of more than 1 million or 2 million ounces.
That's for sure an incredible backdrop to restart a mine like Laiva Gold into. Now, Mario, you started a line of thought earlier where you mentioned, of course, you come from the debasement side, from the hard asset side, and now you've gone into the mining side over the last year. I would be very curious to hear, why did you decide to walk this path together with the Chancery group, and why now?
Well, I mean, aside from having physical gold and silver, the bullion, I have invested in the mining sector, but through the public companies, through the stock market. And why now? Well, a few years ago, someone asked me, have you got a plan for the next 5 years, like the Chinese 5-year plan for your channel? I said, no, I just do what I need to do and see what happens. And that was what this is about. I was contacted by Jeremy on January 4th. I always remember the day, and it's on my WhatsApp. And I had no idea what this was all about. And I went to meet Jeremy and Tom, and we had a coffee. And and ever since then, it's just grown, and I enjoy it. And it's something different. You need to aside from telling people, go and buy some coins from a dealer and stuff. It's really interesting because through the private market, you can own like gold, basically, or some silver sometimes, at a much cheaper price. Of course, there is a risk, the risk that the price of gold falls drastically and you get caught with that property. While when you buy gold coins, you just have a coin or a bar. It's not nice when the price drops, when there's a bear market, but you're not stuck with something that you have to maintain. But I personally think, I don't think it's more like the currency's going down. They're going to continue to go down, and that automatically will translate into higher gold prices and silver prices. The fluctuations we see day to day, they're a little frustrating, but you got to think long term. I don't think there's any way that the central banks and governments can reverse the path that they took back in 2008.
Yeah, and Mario, you of course frequently talk about debasement, and gold is the ultimate hedge against currencies going down in value, like you outlined earlier. How do you think about gold mining companies as a similar hedge? And is there also a potential, if you pick the right companies with a low enough cost basis on production, to get significant leverage actually to that currency going down?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the reasons I've invested in mining stocks, is because you get extra leverage. It's like you don't really leverage, like you don't borrow, but if you have the timing right, you can. The company stock will go a lot higher than gold because their margins, let's say they have a cost of $1,000 or $2,000, and the gold price doubles, and their margin stays the same, their profits will double, more than double. And the only problem, I guess, with mining is that you can have some severe corrections, and if the mining company has leveraged itself with a lot of debt, it could be troublesome. But I think if you catch the right time, it's a great way to leverage the gold price. It happened in the 70s. I think I wasn't involved in that. I was too young, but I've heard and read about companies that went like up 20 times or even more, like South African miners. And I think that's going to happen again this time around. You just have to be patient. And I always tell my viewers that it's very speculative, so you need to be comfortable with big corrections and the fact that you might lose all your money even sometimes. So that's how I see it.
And just talking of that leverage, Stein, that Mario's mentioned there with miners, I mean, look at Laiva Gold. I think the valuation we're doing this round is 170 million Canadian. When it's at full production of 50,000 ounces, it will make more than 170 million a year, and it'll run for the next 30, 40 years. We also, I think, since Mario, we joined our team and joined the board of Chancery Royalty. Laiva Gold's an important royalty for Chancery. But Mario, you've been on quite a journey since you started with us 7 months ago. You've been to Ethiopia. Let's get this right. Ethiopia, South Korea for pure tungsten. You went to our beautiful mine, back to Brazil for the first time in 11 years, wasn't it? Down to Pilar Gold, only last month, and now up to Finland. So I think it's really great that Mario can now see the supply side, Stein, of just how hard it is to get mines working, and how long it takes. As Mario said, even if you discover 2 million ounces today, it will probably take you 20 years before that deposit actually becomes a producing mine, won't it? So the supply side is something that I think a lot of gold commentators don't focus enough on. And I'm just amazed, really happy Mario's really pushing that theme now, amongst many other big themes that are driving the market up.
Yeah, for sure. And Jeremy, perhaps that's a great moment to start talking about Laiva Gold in a bit more detail. What is the status on the ground right now, and what are you guys currently working on?
So Mario and I were up there last week. What the team are working on is a lot of infill drilling around the first year for mining. So they're really getting that mine plan perfected. The mill's ready. They're now also going to drill the 4 million ton low-grade stockpile that you can show, Stein, that you've been to Laiva yourself. And 4 million tons. Percy thinks that's gradient 0.46. So there's at least 50,000 ounces or $200 million just sitting right next to the mill in the stockpile. So at the moment, they're just getting ready for next summer to get production restarted. They're also applying for a new permit to go even bigger in terms of tonnage, going from 10 million tonnes a year to 18 million tonnes. So lots going on the ground, and the company will be listing. This is really important. This pre-IPO round sign, it's at $1.50 a share, but it also comes with a full warrant, which for a 3-year full warrant at $2.50. So you get double leverage on that, but also it will be listing next month in September on the Canadian Stock Exchange, the CSE, and the ticker is SISU. That will be the ticker. SISU means, just so you're wondering, what does SISU mean? That means, it's a very Finnish term. It means resilience and strength and toughness. And that's exactly what Laiva Gold is. It's a tough gold mine it's quite cold up there, wasn't it, Mario? It was pretty cold. It was like 12 degrees in the middle of summer. Do you remember, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, colder than it is here right now in London. And it was even raining a little bit the last day we're there. And yeah, beautiful country from what I saw, Finland.
And Jeremy, perhaps we can also talk about, of course, currently the company is still private. Like you outlined earlier, you're in the process of getting this listed, which has taken a bit longer than everyone had anticipated originally. What is still required to get this company public? And of course, you're doing a financing now that is the last round privately. What is that all about?
Yeah, so the private round is a 6 million raise, Stein, and that includes that full warrant that gives you that double leverage. Now, that when the company lists in September, they will be raising more money at the same price, but it won't come with a warrant. So this is a special offer to everyone on this call to get involved in the private round that gives you the extra leverage. But then they're basically going to list next month and really just get ready for production next summer. So it always takes time. And remember, when we first bought this mine back in October of 22, little would I have ever imagined we're still here 4 years later trying to get the mine started. But that's just a sign that the sector's been totally out of favor for so long. And even though you have these huge moves, they only last for a few months, and then suddenly everyone goes, oh, I'm back to technology now. I want to play NVIDIA. I want to play Bitcoin. But that's exactly why we're in a massive bull market, because beautiful mines like Laiva are sitting there ready to turn on. And it's in mint condition. As you've seen it yourself, Stein. It's totally covered by a big shed, so it doesn't weather. It's ready to turn on. And, I think it might just be the second most advanced restart after Pilar, which is our other gold mine that you visited also with Mario. That's starting only in 6 weeks' time. Remember, we're specialists in buying big second-hand mines, aren't we? We bought, as you know, we bought the Tucano mine up in northern Brazil. That's now called Amapa Minerals. It listed on the stock market in Canada on July the 23rd. Market cap's 375 million Canadian. It's producing now. It's a beautiful mine. We also bought Gold Road, didn't we? Remember when we went to Arizona last year? Producing now. It's listed in Norway. The ticker's Gold R. That's also, so we've bought all these mines and we're now listing all of them, and they're all going into production. And Laiva Gold's definitely potential is to grow from 1 million ounces to at least 4 to 5 million ounce resource as well. So it's a huge complex. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, Stein, is after listing, and then it will probably be taken out by one of the majors. As you know, Rupert Resources was taken out only 2 months ago by Agnico Eagle. Now, to put that in perspective, Rupert Resources is 4 million ounces, slightly better grade. It's still like a 2 gram versus our 1.2, 1.3 gram grade. But they've drilled that thing at significant depth, and our deposit's only been drilled to 200 meters. But the big difference between Laiva Gold and Rupert Resources is Laiva Gold has all the infrastructure fully built. So it's much more advanced than Rupert Resources that went out and was bought for 2.5 billion Canadian versus this current round of 170 million. So striking difference and massive leverage for shareholders getting involved now.
Thank you for that overview, Jeremy. And I would love to talk about the ramp up back into production that you expect to start next summer. How do you think about production cadence as, the first couple of months? And modeling-wise, when should we expect the mine to turn profitable?
I think what they're planning to do, and Percy and the team, and Seppo, basically, and Jim Curry, our new COO, basically they're going to blend that low-grade stockpile. There's 4 million tons of that material with the fresh rock from the open pits. There's two open pits. So there's the north and the south pit, and effectively just start building that profile of where you're reducing the risk on mining because you've already got that stockpile there ready to mine, and it's very low cost, and that blending allows you to then ramp it up. So the idea is to get to 5,000 tons a day, do some debottlenecking, and get then to the design template capacity of 6,000 tons a day, and that will get you initially to that 50,000 ounces. But as John Williamson, our CEO, did say, then the trick is to go from that 1 to 1.2 grams to get to 2 grams a ton by more definition drilling, and then get to 80 to 100,000 ounces a year. So the sky's the limit. There's so much upside in this business, and the beauty is it's already built. So you don't have to go and spend 50 million here or 100 million there. It's fully developed, which is very unusual at this point in the cycle.
Yeah, for sure. And what you outlined there is very interesting, trying to increase the grade of the mine output, which goes into the plant. Of course, the plant remains very similar. So your output of gold is higher while your costs remain the same, which means significantly more leverage.
Yeah, so 2 grams a ton. These days, Mario's worth, a gram of gold is worth about $140. Is that right? So at 2 grams, you're $280 rock, versus say 1 gram at $140 rock. So it costs the same to process that 1 ton. So your margins just then explode to the upside. So Mario, you saw the drilling that was there, didn't you, when the boys were drilling there last week?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Mario, what is your impression of Finland as a mining jurisdiction, talking about safety of it, as well as permitting, as well as the quality of the workforce?
Oh yeah, I think it's I think I said earlier, it's like a tier 1 jurisdiction. The workforce is very well educated, very competent, and also the safety and all the rules and regulations are followed really closely, and the permitting, from what I heard, can take a while, but also they're very they have the owner system. Like if you report everything and do all the necessary work and report it to them, they won't even go and inspect. So no, it looks like a very good jurisdiction, and I didn't know up until I started working with Chancery that Finland had much mining. I knew Sweden was a fairly big mining jurisdiction, but it's probably got more and more potential, Finland, because I think we saw, Jeremy, in that town we stayed in, they could do with a bit more business in that area. Maybe Finland needs to give business more of a chance, but they certainly do things correctly and the right way. They don't cut corners.
And Mario, I would love to take you back just for a second towards the macro picture. I know you really focus on the long-term direction of currencies and through that gold, which of course you're very clear on that direction. Now, we find ourselves in a historic consolidation. From January, end of January, we had a pullback around 30% peak to trough. Now, of course, we had a nice rebound from the bottoms. How are you currently thinking about sentiment in gold? Is it an attractive time to potentially be adding?
I think actually back when we dropped in from the top in the end of January to like March was a good time to buy. I think until recently it was a good time to buy as well. And seasonally and historically, like July is usually a bottom on average for the year, and it looks like it's happened again. I've seen that we've come off a little bit yesterday and today. We're speaking on Friday, August 14th, but I think it did have a very good run in the last week, so it's normal to correct a little bit. I'm still convinced that it's the currencies that are dropping and gold and silver that are going to go up. Maybe sometimes we focus too much on it the other way around. But of course we do live in a world denominated in fiat currency, so we do have to look at it like that. And the U.S. economy as well, that's not doing really well for the bottom 90%. We saw non-farm payroll be negative. I think the U.S. needs over 200,000 new jobs to be created every month to keep up with the demographics. The CPI, I guess, didn't rise, came in line, and I don't think the Fed is going to be raising rates, maybe not cutting rates, but even if they were to raise rates, I don't think gold will or silver will have much of a headwind, because ever since the 10-year yield rose from around 1.5 back in end of 2021, I think 2021, and we're now like at 4.6. Gold has gone from like 1,600, like we're saying, in 2022 to almost 5,000. So I think rising bond yields this time around, because we're in a bear market in bonds, in my opinion, they are not necessarily bad for gold and silver. So that's how I see it. And usually human nature in the crowd, they want to buy things when it's going up, like gold in stocks. But you really, like Jeremy does, you have to buy it at the bottom. Like Jeremy was telling me about, I don't know when it was, but most of the mines you bought, they were like dirt cheap when the market was really unloved. That's the way to do it. It feels a bit weird, but you have to do the opposite.
That's the hard bit about that, Mario, is even if you do buy at the bottom for these big mines, you then have to run around looking for money. And of course, no one wants to give it to you when it's the price of gold $16.20 when we bought Laiva. So it's a hard one and to do that. But we when we flew back from Finland the other day, we worked out, didn't we, that we bought all of our mines at the lows in that period. But so excited now, Stein, about Laiva Gold, and just so thrilled that Mario had a chance to see Laiva. And I tell you, he's a fantastic travel companion. I mean, how many miles have you traveled? You said how many miles have you traveled with us since you joined the team, Mario, in January?
Yeah, I usually don't keep track of these things, but seeing that I've traveled an unexpectedly huge amount of miles this year, I asked ChatGPT, I put down where I've been, and it's 34,100 miles. So
No, an absolute pleasure to have Mario Stein on the board of Chancery and involved in what we're doing. And I can't think of a better person to be on the board. You know, speaks 5 languages, an Austrian School of Economics graduate, and just speaks such common sense, right? I think that's why we're all such fans of Maneco64. I've been a fan of Mario for 10 years. That's why I reached out. I thought, I cannot think of a better person to be part of Chancery in our group. So we're just so proud to have Mario with us.
That's incredible. And Jeremy, I would also love to ask you, for anyone still with us, of course, this private round, like you outlined, with at $1.50 with a full warrant, how can anyone reach out and potentially participate?
Absolutely. Just click on the More button below on this video. Ed, Eric, Max, Jamila, Jen, myself, happily give you a call to give you more sort of understanding of Laiva Gold and any more questions you have about Laiva. We're so fortunate, Stein, aren't we, that we have over 2,600 investors in our 6 companies. We also have Chancery Royalty. We have Pure Tungsten, which is starting production in the next 2 weeks in South Korea. We have, Amapa Minerals, Laiva Gold, Pilar Gold, and also Gold Road. So this is not our first rodeo. we're getting good at this. We really know how the business works. We're just so very appreciative of all the amazing support that our 2,600 investors have given us over these last 7 years, and many investors invested in all of our companies. So if it's your first time, happily just call us. We'd love to get on the phone and learn more about what you're doing, what you're thinking about the gold market. Hopefully you're a fan of Maneco64 like we are, and I'd love to talk to you.
Perfect. Jeremy, Mario, thank you so much for your time today. Tremendously appreciate it.
You're welcome.